Hi, this is Omkar Kulkarni.
And I'm Maureen Klewicki.
And we're directors of the Cedars-Sinai Accelerator Powered by Techstars. The idea of this webinar is to provide you with some information, some basic information about our program, some frequently asked questions, and to direct you to tools that can help you understand where you can get more information about our program.
Great, let's kick it off. So, as an overview, the Cedars-Sinai Accelerator Powered by Techstars is a partnership between Cedars-Sinai and Techstars. And later in the presentation, we'll talk about both of those organizations. But this slide kind of gives you an overview of the 3 months of the program. So it is a 90-day residential program in Los Angeles at a space that's just adjacent to the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. And on this slide, you'll see the 3 different phases that are broken down into 30 days. So starting with the first phase, when companies come into the program, during the first 30 days, we introduce them to tons of mentors that they have one-on-one meetings with. And these mentors come from both the healthcare space and the tech space. So in aggregate, these are folks who are from across the organization at Cedars-Sinai, along with many other health systems across the United States. We also have a large number of mentors who come from the broader tech community across the United States and VCs who are focused specifically on healthcare investments.
So the second phase of the program is really around helping entrepreneurs understand how their product fits into an actual healthcare delivery system. We help companies understand product market fit. We help companies understand and develop a business case and a business model, a revenue model, and a pricing strategy around how they can best price their products for enterprise customers in healthcare. So hospitals, physician groups, insurance companies, broader health systems. And so we're really able to do this through some pretty direct and customized mentoring. So as Maureen mentioned, we have mentors from all around the country, and even sometimes all around the world who come in and participate in our program. The way it works is, and this slide is a logo slide of all 28 companies that have graduated our program, so our alumni. As soon as a company is accepted into the program, we sit down with them and we say, okay, what are you looking to achieve over the course of the 3 months? And then we think about which mentors will be best suited to help those companies achieve those goals. Those mentors are communicated. We provide the information to the mentors around what the companies are looking to achieve. And over the course of the 3 months, we really make sure on a week-by-week basis that the mentors and the people that are being exposed to the companies are really helping them achieve their goals around product market fit and everything else that I just mentioned.
So during the 3rd month of the program, there's usually about 70 to 80% of each class is looking to raise money coming out of the program. And later in this deck, we'll talk a bit about the stage of companies, which is actually pretty broad. But for those 70 to 80% of the cohort that's looking to fundraise, what we do during the final month of the program is invite healthcare investors or general VCs who also have a healthcare focus into the program to meet with companies that are specifically interesting to their portfolio. And we find that this is an enormous value add to the companies because sometimes VCs that are focused only on kind of typical consumer tech don't understand the intricacies of healthcare. So this helps our companies to make really important connections that lead them to raise rounds after they finish the program. Another thing that we do during the 3rd month of the program is we have a demo day, and you'll see on this slide a few photos from our previous demo days. During this event, we invite investors and potential buyers of the company's products to hear them pitch, talk about all of the advances that they've made over the 3 months of the program. And it's just a really nice way to facilitate conversations that we've seen lead to investment and lead directly to commercial deals into health systems.
So we've now, having run this 3 times, there's a series of questions that often entrepreneurs have at this stage when they're considering whether or not to apply. So we thought we'd just talk directly about those questions and our answers or our thoughts around them. So the first question we typically get is, what stage are companies in your program? Are we too late? Are we too early? So it's a great question. We have had, over the 28 companies that have applied in our program, a wide range of stages. Typically, companies have full-time founders. They have a product that is a minimally viable product that typically has been tested at least somewhere, maybe a small pilot or a small trial, just demonstrating product validation. Companies have raised anywhere from a few $100,000 all the way up to, we've even had companies raise in excess of 10 million prior to entering our program. But the sweet spot is somewhere between $500,000 to about 3 million. Is somewhere around there is where a large portion of our companies come from. We definitely have some that are earlier and some that are later. But our advice is just talk to us, and we can help you identify whether or not this makes the most sense.
And I'd also encourage you on the same YouTube channel to look at some of the alumni conversations that we've had. We have videos with a wide range of founders who have gone through our program, some who have raised only a seed round, some who are well into Series A. So you can hear from the CEOs themselves about their experience with the program.
Yeah. The next question we often hear is, how strict is the residential requirement? To be blunt, it's very strict. So we believe that the power of our program is mentorship, and our mentors, many of them live and work all around the country, and they fly to LA to participate in the program, as well as the hundreds of people from Cedars-Sinai who walk across the street to actually participate in mentorship and actively help our companies. As a result, it's important for companies to physically be here. In our last class, 9 out of the 10 companies were actually based outside of LA, and they all sent members of their management team for the 3 months of the program. So what is ideal and what we require is that at least 2 members of your management team are here for the 3 months of the program, here in Los Angeles. You can rotate those members out as need be. But it is incredibly important for the course of the 3 months of the program, just given how intense the program is and how much mentorship goes into it, to have people here for 3 months. The next question is, how many founders need to be on site? And I think this ties back to the last question. So it is best when at least 2 founders are here, but at least 2. We've often had all co-founders of a company here for the 3 months of the program. We realize that sometimes you need to have a founder back at your home office. So our requirement is we need at least 1 founder to be here throughout the program, but we definitely advise, if possible, to have both founders or at least two co-founders here, just given the amount of kind of networking and mentorship that's available. We often also hear, well, so what does the interaction with Cedars-Sinai look like? How involved is the health system? From our perspective, this is one of the big differentiators of our program versus other options that entrepreneurs have. This program has an immense involvement from Cedars-Sinai to the magnitude of over 300 to 400 people from across the health system on a consistent basis, program by program, walk through the doors and engage with our companies. So Cedars-Sinai is involved in many ways. The main way is through mentorship. So we have physicians, executives, nurses, all different types of clinicians, actually, administrators participating in actively mentoring a company. Each company will be assigned an executive champion from Cedars-Sinai who will help them navigate the Cedars-Sinai landscape. There are also, in addition to that, there are members of our management team for the accelerator, myself included, who've worked at Cedars-Sinai for 10, maybe even 20 years, and we can really help you kind of Sherpa and guide your way around the health system. And in a sense, that serves as a model for how you're able to then work with other health systems. The other point to point out is there are some companies in our cohorts that end up piloting their technologies with Cedars-Sinai, and even some of those companies, if those pilots go well, end up having enterprise contracts with Cedars-Sinai. There's one company in our first class, Well Health, that started by doing a few pilots with a few ambulatory care centers. Those pilots went really well. This all happened after the program, and a year later, they're now scaled across 120 different physician offices across the health system, and there's almost 200,000 text messages from their software going back and forth between patients and physician offices. So they've scaled, and that's one example. But Cedars-Sinai helps in various ways, whether it's mentorship, pilots, or in some situations, enterprise contracts. And then the last question we get is, are the deal terms negotiable? And the very simple answer is no. We strongly believe in the value of our program. We've now seen it 28 times, very much exceed the expectations of the founders who graduated and are alumni. And we believe that the deal terms are fair and they're not negotiable. So kind of easy answer there.
Okay, so now I want to dive into some important dates for 2018. So our applications will open right at the beginning of the new year, January 8th, 2018. Those applications close on March 25th, 2018, at which point we turn to the selection period. And once we've chosen our companies, our program will start on July 9th, 2018. So just some important dates for you to write down and keep in mind. We also will be coming to a city near you. So we have plans to visit Seattle, Chicago, New York, Boulder, Boston, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and likely many more. So please check the website and you'll see the dates of when we're going to these various cities, or feel free to reach out if you're in and around those locales. That said, we're also willing to have conversations with entrepreneurs who are from anywhere. So if you aren't in these cities, at the end of this presentation, you'll see our contact information, and don't hesitate to reach out.
So we often get asked what we look for when we're screening and selecting companies. So we're pretty transparent about it. The most important things to us from our program's perspective is the value of the management team and the capability. So experience of the team, skill set of the team, how the team functions, both elements of how they've done in the past with how well we think they're going to do in the future, really contribute to the most important evaluation and selection of the companies that make it into our program. We believe that companies that have really strong management teams can take any product and any idea to high success. You can't really say the same. We believe that the same does not apply for companies that have maybe great products but weak management teams. But having said that, there are great management teams out there, and we still need to continue looking at how we select. So once we've identified a strong management team, we look at the difference between the product. So which products are most interesting and we feel will have the most impact in the market. We do look at the market size and the market opportunity, largely domestically in the US, in terms of what market opportunity exists for the product in the US market. We look at the traction as an indicator of market validation. And so if the company has traction, it's a good indicator that the product and the market have been identified properly and the team is on its way. And the last, which is the most important, is we want to make sure that we, in this program, are able to add value. Do we have the right mentors in our network? Do we have the right health system with Cedars-Sinai engaged to provide value and help the company achieve its goals? We've met many, many companies that have a fantastic management team, fantastic product, great market fit, strong traction, but we just don't feel like we can add value. And for those situations, we wouldn't accept a team. And so we want to make sure we're able to get identify all of these points to really be able to select a team. It's a competitive process. We take a very small selection of companies, but on the same token, we believe that our process is fairly transparent and has yielded some outstanding companies so far. We also, on that same token, do have some parameters that are outside our scope. So our program is just not built to support deep biotech, pharmaceutical products, molecular development. So drug development products or new drugs, not really part of what we're doing. Similarly, we are very friendly towards medical devices. We've helped some great class 1 and class 2 devices. Typically a class 3 or class 4 device has a regulatory pathway that often means that we wouldn't be able to help the companies in a short 3-month time frame. We're always happy to talk to companies to really provide input as to whether or not we would be able to provide that value, but typically class 1 and class 2 is more aligned with our scope than class 3 or class 4. Our program is really largely focused on healthcare from the lens of an enterprise or provider perspective. So we're looking at healthcare solutions that would help either from a B2B perspective for a hospital health system, maybe payer, not direct-to-consumer wellness apps or fitness apps. Those are very important products, but not ones that we believe we can help, so they are not in the scope of our program. And then finally, as I mentioned earlier, we are looking for companies that are not that have a product, the companies that have full-time founders. So things that are still in the idea phase, or companies that are that have part-time founders. We encourage you to use up the startup infrastructure that Techstars has to potentially turn your ideas into products and identify maybe some full-time founders for your team. And when you do have those pieces in place, apply to us. But that's some core infrastructure for us.
So in an earlier slide, we talked about the deal terms, and this just digs in a bit. So we do 6% common stock for $20,000 and participation in the program. There's also a $100,000 convertible note, which has a $3 million cap, and depending on how much you've raised, that may go up to 5 or a 20% discount. And we've talked throughout this presentation about how important it is to us that we are able to add value to the companies that are accepted into the program. And that's one reason why we have such a rigorous selection process. But we truly do believe that once we accept a company, that we can add just a ton of value from both the Techstars side with the Techstars network, all of the help fundraising, and from the deep domain expertise that Cedars-Sinai brings. And so we offer an equity-backed guarantee where companies can say to us after the program, if they felt that this program wasn't worth the deal terms laid out on this slide, they can ask for their equity back. And it's something that really lights a fire under us to make sure that we're selecting the right companies and delivering a valuable product, and we feel very confident that we can do that. So now I want to just give a high-level overview of Techstars as an organization. So Techstars really is all about helping entrepreneurs from inspiration through IPO. And the accelerators, that's really what we've talked about in this presentation. But that's really one of 3 different parts of Techstars as an organization. So we have startup programs, which are really focused on very early stage, so kind of that idea stage entrepreneur. And then we also have the venture arm, which can do follow-on investments for companies that are in the accelerator programs, but also looks at making investments outside of just the Techstars accelerators. The accelerators themselves are kind of broken into a few categories where we have city programs and industry-specific programs. But our program is the only program that is 100% focused on healthcare and specifically focused on companies that are selling B2B into the health system. And we really feel that this program is the best place for companies that are looking to sell into the provider vertical. To give you a sense of kind of the breadth of the organization, Techstars has had over 1,100 companies to date, and that is constantly growing. Techstars companies have raised over $4 billion in aggregate, and the total market cap of Techstars companies is over $10 billion. So really a significant footprint in early stage companies. And I think that it's fair to say that Techstars as an organization is looking at more seed to Series A companies really than any other organization in the US. Just a tremendous volume there. And along with that volume comes a tremendous network. And another kind of statistic that we're pretty proud of is that you hear the stat that 9 out of 10 startups fail. And Techstars has really been able to flip that number on its head by providing all of this support to companies to help them really scale their businesses. And so within Techstars, we see that 9 out of 10 companies remain active or have been acquired, and we even have had companies IPO within our network. So that's a stat that we're really proud of.
Yeah, and so the other half of the equation is Cedars-Sinai, and so wanted to provide you a little bit of an overview about what Cedars-Sinai is. And so Cedars-Sinai is a health system that is based in Los Angeles, and over time is growing pretty rapidly within the LA area. Cedars-Sinai is actually made up of 2 hospitals. The main hospital, which is across the street from the accelerator, is the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, which is 886 licensed beds. We actually have another hospital that is newly part of the Cedars-Sinai health system, and it's in Marina del Rey, which is a town close to the ocean. It's a small 100-bed community hospital. In addition, you can see some statistics around what the health system does in terms of patient volume. A few notes that are not on the slide. So it's one of the largest health systems on the West Coast, and freestanding hospitals particularly. I believe it's the largest in the state of California. It is also a leader in various tertiary and quaternary care services, particularly in oncology, cardiac care, neurosciences, GI, and many other fields as well, but particularly those 4. And so we are active in research. We are active in teaching residents and med students and fellows. And we've got a very robust ambulatory care network that includes urgent care centers, private physician offices, ambulatory surgical centers, and cancer centers as well. So it's a very large organization. And what is particularly unique about Cedars-Sinai is it has a venture arm. So Cedars-Sinai, about 3 years ago, with Memorial Care, which is another health system in Los Angeles, launched Summation Health Ventures to focus on early stage digital health companies. And so over the course of the last 3 years, Summation has invested in a series of companies that have been focused in digital health, and all these companies have then deployed their technologies at Cedars-Sinai. Summation typically looks at companies that are somewhere between, that have an ARR somewhere around $1 million or more. And these are companies that typically have multiple enterprise clients, enterprise health system clients. And so the reason we bring that up is Cedars-Sinai has some bench depth and knowledge around how to work with early stage healthcare companies. And we feel like the knowledge we've gained from Summation can really help with the Cedars-Sinai Accelerator Powered by Techstars. And so, as Maureen mentioned, we hope this webinar has been informative and has answered a lot of your questions. We will be in a city near you very shortly, and if not, we would love for you to reach out and contact either Maureen or myself, and we'd be happy to set up some time to talk to you.
All right, thanks so much for tuning in.